and whatever the hell happens goes live.
I'm going to do his intro, and
I don't
then
care.
you can take it. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm going to do my intro music thing.
Okay.
All right, so we count in, and then you can introduce Ketan afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2. Yay! I like youth work.
Yeah.
And your mama loves youth work.
Your mom.
And your daddy loves youth work.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode. We killed him already. We haven't even started. Welcome to another new episode of I Love Youth Work.
That's right. I'm Bob
With
Singha.
me, Dave McQueen.
And Bob Singha.
He's Bob Singha.
That's right.
And we have a special guest. Yes, Bob Singha. That's Bob Singha. And we have a special guest today. A special guest. Viewers, you need to understand he's very special. Not that kind of special, but special. He is actually hosting one of the largest youth events in the whole of the world.
I think it's the whole of the universe.
World.
I don't think that there's any other youth enterprise event in the whole of the universe. Just hold on. Yes, that's being confirmed. That's being confirmed now. In the whole of the universe is there.
Hold on. No, hold on. And the parallel universe.
Oh.
That's how big it is.
You have to take it to that level. Okay.
Good.
Let's go. All
right, you know what? Let's stop bigging it up. Bob, please introduce our special guest for today. Come on now.
Today we have Ketan Makwana joining us. Ketan, welcome to I Love Youth Work. Can you hear us?
Thank you.
Is the technology
working?
I
can hear you loud and clear. The technology working wickedly.
Thank you for sparing the time to join with us today. So let me give a brief introduction to Ketan Makwana. If you are living on a different planet and you don't know who he is, because he should have blasted you on Twitter or Facebook or emailed or doorstepped you
or LinkedIn
to tell you about this event. If you don't know who this guy is, where are you? Because he's chasing you and he's been trying to contact you for the last 10 months to tell you about this special event. But you know what? He's broken through and he's got to you now. And after this day, you will know who he is, and he's going to be ever present of your life, like he is of mine and Dave's. Is that true, Dave?
That's right, and your mum will know him as well.
Okay, Dave is in a really funny mood. I'm not sure if he's in his own house or if he's broken into that house or wherever he is. So we've got a limited amount of time. He does look a little bit, you know what I mean? I'm not being racist or anything like that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't send any emails. Don't send me any emails.
You're racialist.
I just know this guy personally. So Ketan's thinking, why have I done this? He's got a nervous laugh happening. So let me bring it back. Listen, Ketan, for those you don't know, is the co-director and managing director of Enterprise Lab. He's the director of Rockstar Youth. He's an advisory board member of Youth Employment UK. He's an advisory board member of Enterprise India. I see that. And before that, he was an account manager at 3M Healthcare. And also...
Wait, there's more.
I hear that he was a youth development and business mentor at, was it Lambeth College? Ketan, correct me?
He was. That's where I met him, bruv.
Yeah,
One more. He's also the MD of Mass Appeal Media.
Yes.
But yeah, that's right. You didn't know that, did you, Bob? Because
I don't know what that is. But you know what? You noticed I went with you.
Matter.
I went with you and I started dancing.
That's right. We went with the flow.
Ketan.
But fantastic. Ketan has been doing some fantastic work. I met him about 2 years ago now. It was about 2 years ago, wasn't it, Ketan, at Lambeth? It was about two and even more. And we were there with kids with macaroni and marshmallows, which is a whole other story we'll come back to. Yeah. And sounds like a weird film, doesn't it? But yeah, we met, and Ketan has got a big heart. He's got a big heart for young enterprise, for youth enterprise. He has been kicking doors down, jumping through windows illegally, and he's been doing everything to make sure that youth enterprise gets on the map. So it's a pleasure to have him here today and to get him to talk about this massive event that's happening on Saturday, the 13th,
Friday and Saturday.
Friday the 12th. I like to go backwards in time, see? So Saturday the 13th and Friday the 12th. But what we'll do is we'll... Go ahead. Tell us, and just give us the whole spiel. Here we go. Tell it.
Okay, well, first of all, you two are zany guys, but thank you for having me on today. It's a real pleasure, and I'm actually honoured to be online. Youth Enterprise Live was a paper-based idea that I had about 11 months ago, and it was my sort of direct response and reaction to the riots over the summer last year, I felt that there was an emerging gap between young people and the industry and sector, in the sense that a lot of jobs and opportunities seem to be disguised or invisible to young people. And equally, I felt that industry and sector were being a little bit too, should we say the word tough, on young people in terms of opportunities because of the growing unemployment that the UK economy had. What I wanted to produce was a show which replicates inspiring a generation, but at the same time delivering some form of real tangible opportunities. And I think young people aren't stupid, and the thing about this is that we can do another show where we can inspire people and we can give them workshops and keynotes and panels and stuff like this, but if there's nothing to follow it up with, I think what happens is you've got them inspired, and it's like blowing up a balloon and then just letting it go, and it just goes and it creates more disengagement, disempowerment, etc. So what we've done uniquely with Youth Enterprise Live is produce a show that not only inspires young people. First of all, it's free to attend, so it costs nothing to come apart from your time and your ability and your passion to want to do something better with your life. Over 2 days, we're providing just under 200 different programs. That's anything from Mr. McQueen talking, as he will be speaking on Saturday, so make sure you get tickets to come see him. But there are also keynotes from people like Melody Husseini and Claire Young, who have been on The Apprentice, to young professionals like Sabrina Islam and Louis Barnett, who I kind of wanted to draw more on a peer-to-peer level. But aside of just all of those kind of programs, we've also got real life opportunities. So when someone young comes to me and says, I've been looking, I can't find it, well, I've just spent the last 10 months looking, and believe me, I found it. I've got people like O2 Think Big coming with £250,000 to give away in 100 social community projects. We have NACU coming in, and you can pitch for up to £50,000 for your idea and your student.
Who are NACU? Just for people who don't know, who are NACU?
NACU is an organisation which supports student enterprise societies within colleges and universities. I believe it's the National Association for Colleges and Universities in Enterprise. Fantastic organisation, doing really, really good stuff. Really blooding in the enterprise into education kind of sector. So if you are at a uni or a college and you think that your college and uni could do with an enterprise society where you can generate opportunities for networking and meetings and stuff like this, and bringing in good speakers like Dave and myself, and obviously Bob as well, get in touch with NACU, come down and meet them, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you with these kind of things. But furthermore, it wasn't just about money, although we've also got
Hold on 1 second.
Sorry.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pause you, because I'm $250,000, $500,000, all this stuff and what have you, and it's great. And we're gonna give people the website that they can go to and all the rest of it. But I know you talked about the riots, but I believe that it started before that. I'm really curious as to why you think it matters now. Why do you think it matters now? Question.
I think it's a great question. And do you know what? For me, as much as we sensed that this was coming, I think the riots were the tipping point. Everything gets to a tipping point. And I think there was a lot of people out there, including myself, perhaps unbeknowing, were waiting for this to happen, in the sense that, something really bad had to happen to wake the country up, that something needs to be done. But the most important part of it here, David, is that it's in the doing. There's a lot of people that have talked about what they can do and what they can offer. What we're trying to show here is those that can and are prepared to offer. Youth Enterprise Live, don't get me wrong, it comes from the passion of what all my other companies represent and what we're trying to do. But it's one element of a multi-strand solution that young people need.
Let me also...
It's really interesting, Bob, before you ask your question, Bob, it's really interesting. Sorry to jump in there, but you go next. You took over me last time. No. It's really interesting because Bob and I basically birthed this podcast the night before the riots. We were sitting down in the South Bank, having a little drink of cranberry juice or whatever the hell we were drinking that day, and we were talking about, do you know what? There's got to be a real revolution about empowerment, about what it is that we can do. And we've spoken to people like yourselves, and it's just so... it's incredible, as you said, that tipping point that makes a difference. And I just wanted to ask, I know I've spoken to you before, but I just wanted to ask you that question so it could be put out in the general public as to what it is that really motivates you. Over to you, Bob. I'm done. Go. Sorry.
Just before you ask the question, Bob, sorry, just to add to what David's saying there, there is a tipping point there, but believe me, when you engage with more and more young people, you'll find that, do you know what? They want things like this. They really do. They just don't know how to get out there and do it. I mean, when we've got that kind of expertise and that kind of passion ourselves, it's all about listening to what they want and delivering on what they need. That's the difference here.
Yeah.
I think you guys are doing wonderful with all of this. I think there's so many different operations going on at the moment. But for once, people are actually now listening rather than just doing this is what we think is the right thing to do kind of thing. They're actually listening before they act. Sorry, Bob.
Okay.
No problem. What I was aware of.
Off you go, son.
Yeah, what I was aware of is most people have turned off by now because we have a notoriously long podcast. So what I wanted to do is before people turn off, I wanted them to confirm where can they book the ticket, what is the actual website address, and just remind us of the dates, where it is, so people know where it is, and we can get that out of the way, and then we can get into the meat of enterprise, and we can talk about employability and all that stuff. So tell us what the website is, what is the dates, where is it?
Okay, Youth Enterprise Live, you can Google it as Youth Enterprise Live, but it's going to be on the 12th and 13th of October, this Friday and Saturday, at Earls Court. It's in the Brompton Hall. You can't miss it because if you come around the other side of the tube station, you see a very big Startup Britain bus outside, so you won't be able to miss us. You can apply for your free tickets at www.youthenterprise-live.co.uk. That's www.youthenterprise-live.co.uk. All you've got to do is, it takes about 5 seconds, just register in, just put in kind of areas of interest you have, and literally the e-ticket will be emailed over to you. There's an online show guide there as well that you can download to your phone, so you don't have to carry books around with you throughout the whole day. And what's brilliant about this is there's online booking systems which allow you to book seats on every seminar that's available, including DJ production and stuff like that. So every single seminar and workshop that's available over the 2 days, you can go and book your seats right now.
So wow. And for those of you who went to independent or public school, it's youthenterprise-live.co.uk. Yes. Continue, Bob.
So listen, on behalf of Dave and I'm gonna say to you that if you're interested in starting a business, if you've started a business, if you're a young person, or if you're supporting young people, you need to be at this event. There's going to be lots of opportunities to connect with like-minded people, to learn new things. Dave and I are going to be there on Saturday. So if you want to see us, if you don't want to see us, then you can avoid us. We won't swear at you or blast you or anything like that. But if you want to meet us, we're going to be at the event. We're wholeheartedly supporting this. Youth Enterprise is one of the opportunities that we need to take. We need to learn more about this. So if you're interested, or you have an interest in young people and enterprise, this is the event for you. Get there this Friday and this Saturday. So Dave, should we crack into some of those questions?
Click them questions, man.
All right, Ketan.
Fire away. Are you?
What I wanna ask you is that, I mean, there's a lot of people working in schools, and we not want to kind of shy away from controversy. But let's talk about, can anyone be an entrepreneur? What's your views around that? I mean, a lot of people going in and talking about entrepreneurial training. I mean, is entrepreneurship setting up a business for every young person? What would be your views on that, especially when it comes to working in schools?
Yes, Ketan, what would it be?
I think the first thing, and probably David will resonate with this, is the tag entrepreneurship is overused, well overused. In fact, it's been overused for the last couple of years. I'm going to start the answer to this question with one statement. Enterprise is a state of mind. That's all it is. It's how you approach something, and it's how you overcome something. When we talk about entrepreneurship in schools, we're talking about how you can actually help a young person overcome a day-to-day issue right the way through from what they're learning about to what they want to become, through changing the perceptions that they have and the abilities that they have to overcome these situations. So from my perspective, I mean, whether it's Enterprise Lab, Rockstar Youth, or or even Youth Enterprise Live as a show, we believe that entrepreneurs are made rather than born. Although you have some prerequisites and skills and stuff, it's the enterprising mindset that needs to be built over this period, which is why it's so important that we do get into schools. Schools have a lot of opportunity, a lot of talent, and it's all sort of untapped in that sense, because they have to conform to certain things because of school regulations in terms of passing exams, etc. But adopting an enterprising mindset and perhaps letting those that perhaps aren't conventionally designed to just read a book and then understand how it works to be more practical in the way that they learn, we could probably achieve much better results.
Cool. Dave, you want to say something on that?
I was going to fling in a question about employability, and again, it's not necessarily just the event, but just on a wider scheme. We've got over 1 million young people aged 16 to 24 out of work. I think we were all at an event, that you co-hosted at Ketan in the House of Parliament, where we realised that young people don't realise what is necessary to even get a job in McDonald's. And so, given the I don't want to be negative, but given the bleak outlook about employability, what's your outlook for young people being prepared and ready for the world of work and their chances of actually getting some good work?
I think there are a couple of things here that affect this. It comes back down to perception. One of the biggest parts about this, I've been working with disengaged young people for the last sort of 12 months. These are people that have a passion in a particular area, they're just not allowed to air with this. It is a perceptive thing more than anything else. I don't get me wrong, I've worked at McDonald's, through my career on the way up. I've learned a lot from places like McDonald's and Tesco's and all these other jobs. There just seems to be this air that these jobs aren't good enough for young people. And that's maybe because of the way in which society has presented themselves, that you could become overnight successes on certain shows, which I'm not going to be discussing today. But I think it isn't a bleak outlook. I think, if people like us are here to actually empower and instill a fresh mindset and actually a key motivation, it's actually unlocking the ability that this person has and showing the value that they bring to the company that they're going to work for. So whether you're flipping a burger or stacking a shelf, or even if you're actually an account director for a company, there is such a value that you bring with what you're doing. And I think that's what we need to instill this whole faith into young people, that look, what you're doing is true for you, is developing. And yes, you have to be prepared to work for what you want. The opportunities aren't all there. You're going to have to fight and be different and be creative. But believe me, when I speak to, there are people that I've seen and they've been perceived to be completely disengaged and not interested in anything. And then, sorry, let me just get rid of that.
That's right.
One simple conversation with them, spending a little bit more time showing interest in them as opposed to what the job is about, it opens up so much of an opportunity. For me,
is George Osborne on the phone to you?
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's somebody calling up to ask how much the free tickets cost.
But it's listening, and it goes back to this whole thing about listening. I think we don't spend enough time, as a society, listening to what young people want to do and why they want to do them in a particular way. But if you do engage with people by listening to them, they feel a bit more valued. And the thing we have with this is that, some of these young people will have to take lower paid jobs, voluntary jobs, even just do things for free on a basis to get this experience. Unfortunately, it's the generation that they're in. But I'd rather be doing that than feel that I'm part of a lost generation that I can't have a job or anything like that.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Singha.
Well, I think it's going to be a valuable event, and I think we're kind of boosting it as much as we can, so people can get there. Even if we have a negative view about it, there's controversy about should we be plowing so much funding into entrepreneur thing? I had lots of telephone calls around that, lots of emails around that. People got different views. But why I like the event is that's the place that we need to discuss it. If there's going to be a debate, let's get into the debate. Standing out on the outside isn't an option anymore. So they flagged up the event, Bite the Ballot, and it was Enterprise Lab together at Houses of Parliament. And that's what we want. We want to have the conversation. What's lacking and what's been lacking is that if someone wants to start a business and they're at school, we need to be able to give them that support. Now, and that choice needs to be there. When I was at school, I wanted to start a business, and my careers advisor, and I use inverted commas there because I'm not sure that there was much advice about careers going on. Sorry about that. Sorry, whatever your name is, I've forgotten your name. But I wanted to start a business, and there was no one there to tell me what that meant. And I started my business by making loads of mistakes, and probably the best way of starting a business or learning how to do a business. So my plea and the reason why we're doing this podcast is about, if you're interested in enterprises, get to that event. And I think a lot of those things are going to be answered there.
Can I just jump in and just say something very quickly? I think. And I want your opinion on this, Ketan. Obviously, one of the main reasons we've designed this or put together this podcast and this blog is because we wanted to push it out to those who are really passionate about working with young people. So whether you're a youth worker working in a youth centre, or whether you're a youth worker in the sense that you've got an organisation like Y Enterprise Live or our company, Magnificent Generation, or whatever it is, and you're helping to empower a young generation to be effectively future employees and employers, as well as citizens. One of my issues is that there's a lot of us in this space, and a lot of it doesn't seem to be really joined up. So a lot of us will do stuff and we'll have events and da. Now, in terms of your vision, in terms of how you see Enterprise Lab and the event, how would you like to see us join those dots up even more so than they are now around employability and enterprise?
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant question as well, and I think this is something that I was talking to you about when we first met. There is a big disconnect between different training providers and facilitators and all sorts of things, and it's having that confidence in what you offer to young people, in the ability to say, look, I dovetail the program you've provided, or I can provide a niche part of what you have to offer. And this is perhaps maybe, again, one of the recipes to the success of Enterprise Lab. We've almost gone upon ourselves to look at who our potential competitors would be and actually appealed to their nature and said, let's work with you rather than against you. And what we've actually found is that we can actually provide a lot of more value. So one of the most important things here and this is vital to the market space. It's not about how many clients you can get, but how many opportunities that we can work on collectively, because what you bring and the way you bring it is different to the way perhaps we would bring it. So it's providing a variety of different training methods to young people, because not everyone can. I mean, if we just kept trying to do the same thing, then we're doing pretty much what schools are doing at the moment. That's getting people to conform to the way that we want them to learn, and that's not going to help it. We don't want. Yeah, we don't want. I'm happy to go on record to say that that's what I feel.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fair. I understand that. I appreciate that. I understand that. We've got one last question we can round it out with, Mr. Singha.
Yeah, I think
one last one we can hit him with and round it up.
You know what? Most of their guests, and we value their guests so much. We want to know, why are you doing this? Who's Ketan? Why are you in this mad field? Some people, we have some readers of this podcast who want to get into the youth work field and they want to know you personally. So I said it's a kind of double-barreled question. One is, who are you and how come you're doing this? And the second question, actually answer that and then I'll give you the second question and hand back to Mr. McQueen.
Okay. Very quickly, I come from a background of professional sales and marketing. For the last 15 years, I've worked in this space where I've either sold to someone or I've marketed products. In 2009, I was made redundant, and ironically, the first my first client when I started my company, when I got made redundant, was the company that made me redundant, if that makes sense. So my previous employer became my first client. And I think from there on, the first 2 companies I worked on were all about helping other people's businesses. So SmartKit was born, which was a company that helped fledgling companies or entrepreneurs set up in the recession. I then went on to start a company called Medzuma.com, doing brand management for niche brands from across the world, and I was just using my expertise in the healthcare sector that I'd worked in. It's then, as I say, I was at a Christmas do and a networking event, and I just said to someone it'd be interesting to go to a college and tell some students that actually I didn't go to university, and I think I've shipped out all right. And it just so happens that the curriculum manager at Lambeth College was standing right behind me and invited me there into Lambeth. And from that point, it really turned. I think what made me feel really good about this is I could spend some time, you know, again, against normal sort of reform and what colleges tend to do, and actually really talk to these guys on a one-to-one basis and say, look, this is how I did it, don't have to fear anything. And the kind of response I got from what I was supposed to expect being a disengaged crowd was they actually stayed on half an hour longer than they should have. That drew me to it. I did a little stint with Careers Academy, and that got me going. And I thought, that's it. I want to create a business which actually works within this sector. But I just didn't want to come out with any old thing. Ironically, I then met Sabian and Naomi, my business partners, on Twitter.
Shout out to Sabian and Naomi. Yeah.
I met them both on Twitter, and we actually started Enterprise Lab as through social media, basically. You know, Sabian's based in London, Naomi's based in Manchester, but I thought, you know, our passions and our values were just the same. We were just coming from different areas, so we've combined all these things together. And I think it's mothball from there. I'm a solid networker, and I love networking, and I get engaged. So I've been fortunate enough to be in the right spaces with the right people, but I've made my network work for me.
Yeah.
And any advice that I could give to anyone that wants to start in this space, the first thing I say is don't do it unless you're prepared to put 150% commitment into that young person. Yeah. Otherwise, you know what, you're just going to float around with the rest. If you truly value what you're trying to do, let your passion and let your work, you know, speak for you rather than what you can achieve. Because at the end of the day, young people are not dumb; they're smart, but they're also skeptical. And if they can get a whisper of, you know, you're all talk no trousers, then you're going to lose your audience quickly.
To be honest, I haven't heard that phrase before. All talk no trousers, but there you go. That's all right. I like that phrase.
It's better than 2 eyes and 4 balls that I was telling David earlier.
I'd like to officially apologise.
Well, I'm going to let you.
I'd like to officially apologise for that. I don't know what that means.
It was a circus trapeze act.
Yeah, I know.
Bob, you got a minute and a half to round it up, son. A minute and a half.
Dave, one question I'd like to ask you is, are you wearing a hoodie and a shirt?
Yeah.
Would you like
Do you want to know why?
Would you like to explain that, please?
Because I actually I had to go out and I got like my proper jumper on. But because I had to go out and I had to pick up my daughter and I had to look all hood on the street so mans didn't come and mess with me, I put it over my jumper and my shirt. See, that's the way I roll. I can do hoodie and shirt. I can do Buckingham Palace and Buckingham High Street. I am, see? Any road.
So to look street, you wore a shirt and a hoodie. Right.
And a hoodie.
All right.
That's right.
Ketan.
See, because
Ketan.
See, what would happen, right, is young kids would run away because they see the hoodie, but older women, they'd be like, oh, he's got a shirt on. See, that's how I roll. Finish, go on. I'm done.
You killed it. This podcast went on a different level, man. This went on a different level.
That's all right.
Well, anyway, Ketan, what are your hopes and opportunities for the youth sector? Bring some hope. This is a time of massive change in the youth world sector. I see you as, you know, up and coming and, you know, growing and, you know, supporting this sector. What are your hopes and opportunities for this sector? If someone's listening in and saying, you know what, I'm in fear, is this going to survive? Lots of funding changes. What are your hopes for the sector?
Well, I think you're right to say. I mean, we're here to stay, and we're going to stay quite as long as we can, basically, before we're kicked out of this party, basically.
Right.
The other side to this is that I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I'm campaigning for a change in the way in which apprenticeships are set up and the way in which young people get these. There'll be more information coming out in due course. I think young people need to raise their game. They need to look at, changing the way in which they approach this, their same tasks. But at the same time, feel assured that those that are coming to Youth Enterprise Live are those that want to help people. I'm not saying that those that haven't come don't want to help people, but these guys have made it all there. And it's not just about big corporations. There are SMEs and small, early fledgling businesses that have supported all the way through. So as a young person, don't feel that you have to conform a particular line. Come and experience different things. Understand where you fit. Just because you want to get into fashion doesn't mean that you can't do anything in media to start with, or just because you want to get into business that you can't go and work with a business to start with. So think beyond the parallels of what it is. Don't worry about this whole conforming thing. If you're in an uncertain time, so be uncertain with how you want to do it. Just whatever you do, deliver it with passion, deliver it with conviction, and network your arse off as much as you can. Go out there, and you're only 6 or 7 circles away from everything that you want. It's just how you ask those questions and what you're trying to achieve with it. I mean, amongst us all that will be there at that show, there is so much talent, opportunity, and connection that, I want young people to come and take advantage of it, really, which is why I'm not charging a penny for anyone to come.
Wicked. I think they summarised it lovely. Lovely summarised.
Mm-hmm.
Be at the event. This is the
Lovely
event.
jubbly.
It's one of the events of the year.
That's right.
David McQueen, let's stop this madness. Put me out of my misery. Round this
I love
up.
youth work.
This was I Love Youth
Work.
Work. That was David McQueen and
Love
Ketan Makwana.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
And Bob Singha. That's right. See you on Saturday.
See you, and it's
Or online.
Friday on Saturday.
Peace.
Book your free ticket now.
Oh, and that
Thank
guy
you.
that came and said hello to me in Asda, it wasn't me. See you later.
Bye.